morning, everyone. This is Leslie Jouflas, and welcome back to your Daily Five. And thank you, StockCharts, for inviting me back again. This is the segment where we have 10 minutes to present five charts, but I'm cheating today and I have six. Today, we're going to go over Bitcoin, and we're also going to look at the symbol GBTC. This is a symbol that I presented on your Daily Five on April 27th. So, for a little bit more information on it, you can check out that episode as well. But as it says here, no new highs. I don't think we're going to be seeing new highs in Bitcoin anytime soon. I've noticed, and probably a lot of you have too, the last few weeks, even a couple months, hearing so much bullishness about Bitcoin. I mean, just about everywhere. I mean, we're hearing it on local news stations, national news, the general public. Just sometimes when I'm out and about shopping, I hear people actually talking about it. Those are usually signs that you're close to a top. So I thought I'd go in and I'm going to show you some of the patterns that had been forming in Bitcoin as all of this excessive bullishness had been going on. I think it's really good. A lot of traders, especially in markets like Bitcoin, a lot of them only go long, but there's a lot of opportunity if you can learn to recognize some of the bearish patterns that form as well. So let's start here. I pulled up, there was an article that was written, and this is just a portion of it. This is from May, this was written on May 10th, and the author had said that the Bitcoin had been choppy for more than a week, but the bulls are keeping their overall near-term technical advantage and that they've shown resilience, but are still working to restart a price uptrend on the daily chart. So that was back on May 10th. And then the market topped out on May 12th, 2 days later. Well, here's the sell patterns that these are ones that I use in my trading that were forming and completed. There's an ABCD sell pattern, a three drive to a top pattern, and there were actually two butterfly sell patterns. So let me walk you through those a little bit if you're not familiar with these. But I've talked about these patterns fairly frequently on episodes of your Daily Five. But three drives to a top is marked in here. And this is where you have fairly symmetrical tops, one, two, and three. And quite often, when a three drive pattern forms, especially when it's forming over a period of time, you'll see some other cell patterns form within it. In this particular three drive, there was what's called a butterfly cell pattern. And that pattern starts with this X, this leg to the downside, and then an AB equals CD pattern forms with the D completing above the X. So that's the cell pattern. You can find more information on this pattern. Come to my website or look at other videos on the Daily Five that I've done on this pattern. This is known as a reversal pattern. Doesn't always reverse, but you can see here just the beginning of that move had a strong, very strong move to the downside and then some correction to the upside. So always pay attention when you start hearing about one market or one stock, like remember GameStop, all of the time and it's everywhere. Be looking for some signs that you might be close to a top because it's usually on the bullish side that you're hearing those types of things everywhere. So now let's move now to another view. This is a daily chart. This is on StockCharts. Symbols right up here. You can look it up. But what we notice here is from this high down here, about the middle of April, and this swing to the downside and up, this is like a butterfly pattern here. We can see the RSI down below starting to show negative divergences and sort of, declining on this last high that was made. This very bullish candle over here, you see the low end of that candle marked with the lower dash green line. As the market came down through there, the low of that pattern was taken out. Now, in Japanese candlestick theory, when you have a very long uh, bar such as this candle, generally around the halfway mark of that candle is considered support, and opposite, if it's a long dark candle, would be resistance. But notice here that it just really did not. It attempted some support right here with a very small retracement to the upside, and then totally reversed. And once it took out those lows, that accelerated that downside movement on that. So here's something that you can watch and gauge support, resistance, strength, weakness, etc., just by using a simple candle technique. So now this area here where the lower dash line is, this should be a resistance point at this time. Also note that the on-balance volume down below, that's also turning to the downside. And the MACD down here, just above the pink on-balance volume, big momentum lows made to the downside. So now let's take a look at this is GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and this is the only like stock type traded vehicle that you can use for Bitcoin right now. So this was presented, as I mentioned, April 27th. Interesting to note, it was in a range here, and it noted that in that prior video. But this center line became important here. And when we look at the next chart, you'll see all of the trading that went around that center line. When you're working with ranges, see if you can find that center line, because that's usually going to be sort of a key area of where prices are going to start to move away from that range towards a breakout from. So let's take a look at the next chart and let's see the outcome of that. So here's the center line, as you can see, and look at, so April 27th was just about in here at that last video, and then look at what happened at that center line after that. It just really acted as a resistance area before breakout to the downside. There was even a small A, B, C, D sell right up to that. And then the price broke that smaller range within the larger range, gap to the downside, breaks, tries to get back up there, and then another larger gap to the downside. And this is just about where we are right now. So I've drawn in another lower horizontal trend line right here, because you can see the price is testing this support area now back from February, January. This is an area where the market did some consolidation, moved to the upside, and then retested that area and another strong move to the upside there. So I've put in these green lines here, and this range here, I'm just doing a measured move, a projected target to the downside if this area here breaks. Now we could end up forming a little bit bigger of a range, and then this target may actually increase from the high here to the low here. But I think that if this breaks below here fairly soon, that this is be a reasonable target. So let's take a look now and take another view of GBTC on a daily chart, and let's take a look at that target again. So we can see here's our range, there's the center line, the green lines are the measured target. Now here I've done some Fibonacci retracements. I'm using the low here to the high, and we can see that the target is coming in really close to the 786, 886 area. And we can see right here, we can see where this up move started after this consolidation and some gaps. So price would be getting back in around those areas if it reaches this. So it's currently sitting on this 0.618 retracement. And again, that's another reason to believe that if those lows break, we'll see lower prices down towards that measured move target. Now I've also taken this low here, That's from about January up to where the high was made, and projected the length of this swing down using the Fibonacci extension of 1.27. So it's just taking the length multiplied by 1.27, subtract from the high, and that's bringing us down into that area as well. So there's some confluence happening there with that price target. Okay, and also we can see, let's look at the RSI. You can see that declining and the MACD declining there. So uh, again, that was looking fairly bearish. Now let's look at another chart here. And this one is showing us we're scaling down now at an intraday chart, 240 minutes. So we can kind of take a look as to what was happening within those daily charts. And I find this really helpful. And we can see that we can see a smaller range as it came up to those highs. There was a little 127 pattern up at the high here where that green line is. We can see how the price just broke that. So if you kind of combine some intraday charts with your longer term charts, it can be very helpful to sort of get a little bit of a bird's eye view on what's happening with the price action. So we had the, range here, and then it broke, and then a retest of that range. This is just really classic technical analysis stuff. And then price moves to the downside. There's a little A, B, C, D corrective sell pattern. And then it really has a strong move here to the downside. We see the RSI moving down. So the point of all this is when you're hearing everything that is super, super bullish, or even super, super bearish, take a look, go in and do some analysis and see, are you seeing things that are supporting that bullishness or supporting the bearishness? Usually, when I hear it, I see things that are not supporting it by using this type of pattern recognition. Now, my expectation now is that we'll probably maybe see some tests to the upside back into what was once support is now resistance. So that's, I think we're not going to see any new highs for a while in Bitcoin. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. And you can find me at Trading Live online. Come join me for the weekly market setup subscription. You can find my book, Trade What You See, How to Profit from Pattern Recognition. It covers these patterns in it. You can email me, LinkedIn, Twitter, or my YouTube channel. So once again, thanks for joining me. Have a great trading day. I'll see you on the next Daily 5.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.